In the year 2000, Psygnosis and Camden Studio developed and published a very unique game. Its name and vibrancy made it seem innocent, however, it was anything but. Its game mechanics were unlike any other game I can think of, its soundtrack captured the drum and bass and techno trend of its time, and its difficulty spike made it almost unbeatable. This game was Team Buddies. Team Buddies is one of my favourite PS1 titles of all time, but when I talk about it, most people don't know what it is, and for those that do, they haven't been able to beat it. Why is that exactly? Did the difficulty spike and vulgarity lead to poor sales? Was it a confusing target audience? Why is it so expensive to buy a copy? And why is there so many differences between European and American versions? Today I will be answering those questions and break down Team Buddies as much as possible, from its story, development, soundtrack, mechanics, communities, speedruns, and any future it might have. I'm another Funkin' Gamer, and this is everything there is to know about Team Buddies. So why am I making this video? Well, I was one of those lucky kids in the year 2000 whose parents purchased Team Buddies for them, even though the label warned them not to. I would play Team Buddies for months on end while my mother would walk past my bedroom door hearing drum and bass, gunfire, and angry Englishmen swearing at each other. She'd voice her concerns, but the gaming would continue. With the game being so difficult, it probably took 2 years of giving up and retrying before somehow completing the game, only for the endgame sequence to be a dude saying,
"So you won the game. What do you want from me, a medal or something? Get out of here."
Fast forward to my 20s where I decided to buy a copy of this game on eBay and revisit the magic and torture that was Team Buddies. Upon replaying it though, I realised just how much I enjoyed this game and how ahead of its time it was. I decided to give this game the love it deserved by speedrunning it, so I could be the one to kick its ass, you know? But my interest in Team Buddies didn't stop there though. Having now worked in the gaming industry myself, I became very curious about Team Buddies' history and development, and seeing as how the details about it are scarce online, I felt compelled to make this video. Hopefully it'll grab the attention of fans and creators, and perhaps more info can be shared in the future. Camden Studio had already developed titles such as Kingsley's Adventure and Blast Radius, and were looking to create another well-received PlayStation title with Team Buddies. Unfortunately, after much research, I still don't know what exactly inspired Team Buddies. If I had to describe it to someone, I would say it's like playing Command & Conquer, Age of Empires, or Warcraft, but instead of controlling multiple troops, you only really control one at a time, and instead of having multiple buildings, you only have one. Then its action element is a mix of 3D platformer with top-down shooter. Think of Loaded for PS1, but with less blood and more jumping. From observing early game footage, I can tell that the game's mechanics did not change much from its early development. The only obvious difference is the stack pad used to be 3x3, but that was too complicated, so they pulled it back to 2x2. What I do know is the buddies themselves were inspired by Bombermen, and when you compare them side by side, you can see all the similarities. The single coloured outfit, the big eyes, the big hands and feet, and the belt. It's hard not to see now. From prototype art and dev documentation, we can tell the game's weapons and vehicles are referred to as toys, but at some point that terminology was dropped. We also learned that the game was referred to as Legit, rather than Team Buddies, at some point. Legit is an abbreviation of a common UK term, let's leg it. In other words, let's run for it, or let's just get out of here. There are some interesting ideas that were planned for Team Buddies, but didn't make it in due to time, practicality, or hardware limitations. Some notable ones are more detailed weaponry and vehicles, ambulance to heal buddies, different base styles, a phone box that transforms buddies into super buddies, a currency system, and handguns. Development for Team Buddies took somewhere between 18 to 24 months, meaning development started either late 1998 or early 1999. Team Buddies was released first in UK on September 15, 2000 by Psygnosis Camden Studio, and then released in North America on September 18, 2000 by Midway Games. Late into Team Buddies development, it was requested that Team Buddies' tone be made more mature so that it would appeal to older audiences, the type that was into Wipeout and going to nightclubs. As a result, Team Buddies' soundtrack and voices were completely changed so they didn't seem as childish, but more details on that later. However, North America did not want to have a more mature rating, so instead their buddies did not swear and the box art and game manual were toned down. But interestingly enough, the updated drum and bass soundtrack was kept the same in North America. At the time, the game was received relatively well, but only about 50,000 copies were made, as the studio only needed to meet a minimum number of games created for Midway, rather than copies sold, and therefore there was no need to create any more copies after that. Due to its limited release and popularity, it is now one of the most expensive PlayStation 1 games to buy. Shortly after its release, Psygnosis was consolidated by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, and Team Buddies was their last title before this change. The next game they would go on to make would be Dropship United Peace Force. Many devs I spoke to really enjoyed working on this title, despite the late game changes. When asked if they would change or add anything, they said no, they felt that the game had run its course and they were happy with it. They also said that they had the most fun with the multiplayer. Over 60 people worked on Team Buddies, and lots of the staff would go on to work on very impressive projects. Thanks so much to the staff that took the time to answer my questions. The game introduces you to a fun-loving community, enjoying a party in their peaceful Buddyland, when suddenly a great eclipse looms over them, which halts the music and causes confusion and panic. Red and blue crates fall from the eclipse, and out of curiosity the buddies begin to open them. Inside them they find deadly weapons, and soon a once cheerful world becomes consumed by chaos. Already Team Buddies shows how innocent they all were before guns fell on their heads. Not sure if the devs were trying to go too deep with the messaging here, but I like the idea that the weapons corrupted them anyway. Although in the manual it describes them as enjoying the chaos and that their old lives are boring. The campaign will then span 8 worlds, each containing 4 levels. The last world is meant to be a secret, but we'll get to that later. Each level will give you a written mission briefing and some objective to beat that level. Mostly this will be to kill some other buddies to find out what the hell is going on, but others will be to save some animals or a scientist who can uncover the mystery. Spoiler warning, eventually you will discover that the culprits behind the crate drop were square-shaped beings from another world called baddies, who purposefully dropped the crates on the planet just to fill in the chaos for their own amusement. Once the baddies are discovered, they escape on their rocket ship, but a couple of buddies manage to hitch a ride to the baddies' homeworld to seek revenge on them. What struck me about Team Buddy's story is that 3 years later there'd be an episode of South Park where aliens were watching Earth like a TV show for their amusement as well, although surely there's gotta be examples in media before this. I didn't pay much attention to the story back then, but looking at the story now, it loosely explains all of the carnage you have to go through, and it does give a satisfying resolution to the Buddies' world being torn upside down. I just wish they finished it with another Buddies party. Oh well. Before I get into how the game works, I need to speak about this game's soundtrack, as it's the soundtrack for this video also. The game's music and sound effects were done by Alistair Lindsay. Alistair had already worked on many titles before Team Buddies, so he was well accustomed to producing game music. But not only that, he was also producing his own electronic music under the name Switch Shift. This experience and familiarity with electronic music led to such a killer soundtrack. After Team Buddies, he would go on to produce music for such games as Gran Turismo, Wipeout, Little Big Planet, and Horizon Zero Dawn. As mentioned already, Team Buddies went through an age rating change, and part of that change meant that its original soundtrack be redone. Yes, the soundtrack we all know and love today used to be much different. It was more playful, and its genre would best be described as happy hardcore. Here's a taste of what it used to sound like. After the age rating change, Team Buddies' soundtrack was redone from happy hardcore to a more breakbeat drum and bass style. This new style would be similar to early Psygnosis' games such as Roll Cage and Wipeout, which was a perfect showcase for the UK's electronic music scene at the time. Even though the late game changes were a burden on many working on the game, I am happier with the new soundtrack than the old one. Team Buddies gets a lot of praise online, but I think the highest praise is for the music. Every world in Team Buddies had its own theme, which gave them all a unique feel. Dirtbox Desert had its deep synthesizers, Droopy Woods had its deep bass, Rubber Jungle had its bongos, and Luna Moon had a sick breakbeat rhythm. There was 2 other tracks that were great also, the main theme, which can be heard in the credits, and the VR team in the VR training. So with all those 10 tracks, plus all the jingles and sound effects, Team Buddies was an amazing soundtrack and you should really give it a listen. So how does this game work? Well, a lot of information on how to play the game can easily be missed. That's because the blue crate you see on the mission select screen is actually something called VR training, which teaches you how to play the game. This mode is optional, so many people may have missed it. I didn't know some tricks when I first started playing this game, so I'd recommend checking it out if you want to learn. They're very well made and even have unique dialogue if you miss a step. Also, the VR world looks really cool. The game manual also lists lots of information about the game, but back then I never read any game manuals. But if you have a copy of the manual, you should totally check it out. Not just for the game tips, but also for the lore, useful information, and the humour. I swear the humour and tone of Team Buddies is present throughout the manual, at least in the UK version. Each map can contain 2 to 4 teams. Each team can have a max of 4 buddies, and if you attempt to build any more buddies, they'll just become ammo and health instead. If all the buddies in one team is killed, then that team will be defeated. The last team with any buddies alive will be the winner. Each team will have a base building and a stack pad that's the same colour as their buddies. Your base building has a lot of health but can be destroyed, and if it is destroyed, your stack pad will be deactivated and you'll no longer be able to build anything anymore, so you should protect it. The game does a good job at communicating that your base is being attacked, as the radar will flash red when it takes damage and an alarm will sound. To build weapons and more buddies, the player must use their buddy to collect and place crates on the stack pad, and then once it's built on the stack pad, they can press the action button to open it and create that item. The stack pad is a 2x2x2 grid in both width and height, and the order of the crates on the pad will determine what item comes out of them. More crates generally means a better outcome. For example, on World 2's weapon set, a single crate will give a basic gun like a shotgun. 2 crates side by side, horizontally, will usually produce a throwable. All 4 crates side by side, horizontally, will produce a heavy weapon, such as a Gatling gun. 2 crates on top of each other, vertically, will create a basic buddy. 2x2 crates, vertically, will usually create a better buddy than the last, this time a medic. And finally, the stack pad being filled, 8 crates total, will create a vehicle, usually a tank. If a blue crate, otherwise known as a super crate, is added to any of the above recipes, it'll create a better version of each item. The improvements to weapons are typically firepower, but can also be fire rate and spread. Blue crates for buddies will increase their health, but can also improve speed and melee damage. Crates are usually placed either near your base or in a central area for both teams to access. Depending on the map, blue crates may appear in the same location as red crates, but at a much lesser rate, or can be hidden elsewhere on the map. Blue crates are also heavier, as buddies move a lot slower while carrying them, which emphasises their value. Another thing to note about crates is that if they are broken while not on a stack pad, they'll provide health and ammo, while blue crates provide even more. Also, players cannot break crates on enemy stack pads, so don't even try it. But you can steal a single crate off an enemy stack pad if you're feeling cheeky. While we're here, let's go over advanced controls. The camera can be rotated 45 degrees by pressing select. To change buddies, if you have more than one, just press triangle. Buddies usually take stronger weapons if they walk over a better one. This can be very annoying if you want to keep a specific weapon. You can actually drop a weapon by pressing square and circle at the same time. This is something I didn't know for so long. If you have other buddies, you can tell them to build something by pressing L2. Tapping L2 will cycle through each item from weakest to strongest. Holding L2 for a couple of seconds will trigger auto build, which causes them to build whatever they want. If you have other buddies, you can tell them to perform an action on something by standing next to an item, buddy, or building and tapping L1. If you are not standing next to anything, this will make them defend you. By holding L2, your buddy can look around the map in a short radius from where they are standing. While holding L2, the player can give the same buddy orders from a distance with L1. If a player holds R1 and continues to move, the buddy will face the same direction while moving. In other words, they will strafe lock. Now, the most useful mechanic that may be missed. If you lock onto an enemy and move around, you will always be facing them. This is essential for combat in Team Buddies. If you have a minigun, a flamethrower, rockets, this is the best way to kill them. If you do it manually, you're going to die. The last thing I want to mention is the radar, which is the circle on the top left of the map. It will display useful information on the map that you may not be able to see from your camera's perspective. It'll show things like your teammates and your stack pad in your color, enemy units and their stack pads in their color, bosses will be white, and NPCs will be grey. Radar is really useful for finding remaining enemy units on the map, so keep an eye on it. The sheer amount of weapons, vehicles, and special pickups in this game are vast. There is a lot to be said about buddies too, but I'll get to them soon. As well as its own music and design, each world comes with its own unique set of weapons, buddies and vehicles to create and use in battle. With 8 worlds to play in the campaign, that's a total of 24 unique weapons. And that's not including the Super Crate version of each weapon, with its own improved look and feel. It would take a while to go through all the weapons, so I'm gonna do it anyway. World 1, Uzi. Grenades. Bazooka. World 2, Shotgun. Time Bomb. Gatling Gun. World 3, Pocket Rocket. Napalm Grenade. Flamethrower. World 4, Fireball. Cluster Grenade. 4-pack Rocket. World 5, Ice Gun. Ice Grenade. Power Orb Gun. World 6, Taser. Scatter Bomb. 4-pack Missile. World 7, Pocket Missile. Lightning Grenade. Crypto Light Gun. World 8, Laser Rifle. Dam Buster. Pulse Rifle. Special Weapons. Alien Gun. Ankh. Self-Destruct. With so many weapons to play with, it makes every battle play a little different. But if you just want to go for the win, especially for a campaign, you should aim to build the highest tier weapon as soon as possible and then rush the enemy before they have time to build something good themselves. Gatling Gun, Lightning Gun and Flamethrower are devastating and very little recoil or splash damage, probably the best weapons in the game. 4-pack rockets and orb guns are very fun and powerful to use, but they have a lot of splash damage, so you may end up blowing yourself up. Grenades are a bit clunky, but it's interesting to take on multiple enemies with them. First tier weapons are fine, but it'll take a while to kill a bully with them unless they're a super version. Moving on to vehicles, there are 16 vehicles to build in campaign mode, but also the player can find special vehicles hidden in some missions. Some more useful than others. With all those together, I think there's about 27 vehicles. Now vehicles are a lot of fun to play, but unfortunately they don't have much health and mobility and are not the most efficient for defeating other buddies. I wish there were more situations where you had to use them. If I were to play multiplayer with some friends now, I would get them to only build vehicles as it's so much fun. They can be used to carry crates too, which is a bit slow depending on the vehicle you use. If you have a bunch of crates behind you, usually 2 or 3, you can drop them by pressing circle. You might see some of your own fellow buddies doing this for you, which is quite cute. Alright, let's list all the vehicles going by world order. World 1, Baby Tank. Super vehicle is Super Gatling Tank. World 2, Baby Rocket Tank. Super vehicle is Baby Tandem Tank. World 3, Medium Tank. Super vehicle is Medium Tandem Tank. World 4, Tyrant Tank. Super vehicle is Killer Tank. World 5, Ice Tank. Super vehicle in World 5 campaign is Medium Ice Tank. Oddly enough, super vehicle in multiplayer World 5 is Stealth Tank. World 6, it's Baby Hover Tank Rocket. These names. And the super vehicle in World 6 is Super Hover Rocket Tank. World 7, Killer Tank Flame, which probably should be Killer Flame Tank. Super Flame Tank. World 8, Mech Walker. And the upgraded version is Mech Walker Upgrade. Now, some special vehicles that you can't build in campaign. First off, there's the regular bike. Then there is the motorbike, the tractor, the golf cart, microlight, plane, copter gunship, Harrier, Jeep, Stealth Harrier, Stealth Bomber, and Saucer. Not quite vehicles, but there are a number of turrets placed around several maps, some of which a buddy can hop into and fire for themselves. Some others in campaign mode are automatic and cannot be operated by buddies. These include cannon turrets, flame turrets, minigun turrets, and rocket turrets. Same as vehicles, turrets aren't that useful for destroying buddies, but they are a fun addition to the game. For turrets and vehicles, you can command your buddies to occupy them, or you can occupy them yourself and switch buddies. If your buddy is in a pinch, they can get more health and ammo by destroying structures around the map. These would include trees, benches, pillars, sphinxes, snowmen, and even alien mushrooms. Destroying these will not only produce some health and ammo, but also what's known as special pickups. Thankfully, some of these structures will have the same special pickups in them, and knowing where these pickups are is essential to beating many campaign missions. Some of these special pickups only last for a short time, so you need to make the most of them. They are Invincibility Shield, which makes your buddy invincible for a short time, Gun Frenzy, which does not deplete your ammo while in use, Pumped Up, which fully recovers your health, Freak, which speeds you up and increases your fire rate dramatically, Supervision, which allows you to see stealth buddies and stealth tanks, Jetpack, Rocket Boots, and Ammo Cache, which fully replenishes your ammo. One of the pickups you get is a question mark. Now, this could be the ones I've mentioned already, or it could be something kind of negative, like Inflate, where your buddy turns into a balloon and can be killed in one shot. Fish Feet, where your buddies slip all over the place, although are very good walking on water. Teleport Random, which teleports you randomly around the map. Iced, where your buddy turns to ice and can be killed in one shot. Concrete Shoes, where you can barely move for about 20 seconds. And the other random one is Repair Base, which, if your base has a bit of damage, it repairs it fully. In campaign, to uncover mega crates, the player will either have to wait until a certain time, destroy certain structures in the map, or they will have to press a green button or a series of green buttons throughout the map. A mega crate will then appear at one location on the map, and the player just needs to walk into it to reveal what's inside. What could be inside is a vehicle, such as a motorbike or a Harrier. Or a powerful weapon, which is usually the best weapon in that world. Or the Armageddon barrel, which blows yourself up and everything around you in about 5 seconds. The mega crate will not be random and will be specific to that map. You'll know it's a mega crate because it'll have black borders around it and it'll be huge. Like special pickups, a mega crate may be the best way to beat certain campaign missions, so you should know where they all are and how to activate them. And one last thing, some missions will include interesting modes of movement, such as tunnels, geysers, teleport pads, and launch pads. These can be a lot of fun for the player and make the square maps in Team Buddy more dynamic to navigate, which apparently was a pain for the AI to navigate in early development. Also, the Super Buddies movement over the launch pads is real neat. Team Buddies started with all buddies having high-pitched voices, like lemmings or worms. But when PlayStation made the request to make Team Buddies more mature, then the high-pitched voices were removed, and specific voice lines were created for the buddies. The amount of voice work that was done is quite substantial, and I never knew most of this until I began working on this video. The game has 7 different playable buddies mixed across the campaign, some with their own unique voices, health, movement, and melee attacks. While playing the game, the player will notice the buddies speaking automatically. However, if you play the game in multiplayer, you can make your buddies speak intentionally by pressing the action button. In campaign, however, the buddies do not speak when the action button is pressed. For campaign, each buddy type has their own accents and voice lines. For NTSC, the voice lines for infantry, commando, and stealth are American stereotypes like US Army man and basically Clint Eastwood.
You talking to me? I'm here. What's up? A big gun, that's all. Move 'em through. Let's get moving. What a crock. Oh, that's it. You want some, huh? I'm whacked. Reporting for duty. I was born ready. On my way. Well, I'll be. Whoa, mercy. That's me, you fool. Guns, lots of guns. Send 'em in. Get me a Hummer. Oh, baby. I'm out of here. Born to die.
Howdy. Nice try. Where's my gun? Soldiers. Vehicles. Ready to build. You son of a gun. Ready to dance? Got plenty of bullets? In all the excitement, I kinda lost track. Just walk away, getting a partner.
While PAL uses more English accents like Cockney. I honestly don't know what accent they use for infantry and stealth. Have a listen yourself and let me know in the comments.
Great! Now what? What's going on? Calling all buddies! Tank power! So long, suckers! Oh, we had 'em!
Follow me.
You first! You ah!
Quick knees up down the rubber-dub. Nice.
All that goes! What's your lads?
Where's your Jew? Bob's your uncle. Get down the garage. Right, let's get building.
Too risky.
But we didn't kick any heads. Oh, monkeys. I'm done over here. Would you, Adam and Eve? This will be tasty. Are you fucking mental? What a wuss. Ow, you toilet.
That's our lads.
Anyone fancy a quick ruby? I'm Hank Marvin.
Hello, those crates are tiny. I don't know what to do now.
Let's go.
Careful with that thing.
Ow.
Can I join in, like? He was doing all right there. Finished. I can do that too. You lot's rubbish, you know. Oh, this is just perfect. This had better be good. We might as well fight each other. All right.
Let's get a tank.
Right, guns. That's great. Thanks, mate.
Let's head into town for a quick mucky curry.
For Medic, NTSC and PAL use very similar dialogue and voice styles, but they are delivered by different voice actors.
That's better. Hello, boys. I was getting all stiff in that box. Let's get lots of lovely guns. Come to mama. Let's get at 'em. You're no fun. A tank, lovey, a tank. Yes, let's get frisky. Ah, well, one less doctor in the world. Arrived in a box, now I'm leaving in one. I love surprises. We won! We won! It was all thanks to me, you know. To be honest, I really didn't think you had it in you.
The party has arrived. Let's play soldiers. Relax, boys. I'm here now. Yoo-hoo, over here. Come any nearer and your buddy bits, baby. But I want a party. Yoo-hoo. I'll remember this. Calm down, boys. You won't win if you're frustrated. Firepower. Oh, yeah. Those tanks are so sexy. That was all down to me, you know.
For Ninja, Cyborg, Super Buddy, and even Baddies, they all use the same accents and lines for both PAL and NTSC, although NTSC omitted the swearing lines.
Ninja, join party. Ninja power. Hiya! Fuck them big time. Ninja strong but need gun. Banzai! Nirvana. Ow, flipping hell. Aha! Time for karaoke.
Status online. Let's party. Power up. Now you die. You're hard. Come to daddy. Come on if you think you're hard enough. It's easy when they come to us. Status offline.
Super Buddy! Shazam! Not so tough now, eh? Never
with that
surrender! You think you can outfox us, do you? My weapon is strong. Leave this to me. Prepare for battle. You win this time. Holy coffins!
Your skills are weak. Destroy all buddies, my laser. Die, buddy scum. Buddies forever.
In multiplayer, the buddies' accents depended on what colour team you were rather than what buddy type you are. Most of the voice lines in the PAL version were stereotypical European accents, which were quite aggressive and included a lot of swear words. North America dialed it back for their release, made it less aggressive, removed most of the swearing, and changed some accents to some American stereotypes instead of European. Almost every coloured buddy has a specific voice line for Bill Weapon, Bill Buddy, Bill Tank, Get Crates, Defend, Attack, When They Kill, and about 3 to 6 neutral voice lines when the action button is pressed. But not only that. Did you know that each coloured buddy has a specific voice line for when they are near a different coloured buddy which references them or their relationship in some way? Yes, nearly all buddies have a unique voice line for other coloured buddies, and some colours even have up to 9 unique bonus lines for the other colour. I didn't fully realise this until researching for this video, but in each battle, each team will have one bonus dialogue that they can say to the opposing team with the action button, along with about 4 neutral lines. But if you were to restart the same game, you might have a different bonus line that you can say to the opposing team. I thought there might be some specific reason why I kept hearing a different bonus line, but my only conclusion is that the bonus line selection is random, which, as you can imagine, was such a pain to compile manually. At the end of it all, I think there's over 300 voice lines across NTSC and PAL. It's unbelievable. Here's a short compilation of all coloured buddy voice lines I found, but for a more complete list, check out my other video on Team Buddy's voice lines in the description. Starting with Pal, we have Red, Scottish.
I'll take any of yous, you shitey bastards. Fucking bastards. Och, get away, you shitey wee piece of piss. Straight up his breeches. Ah, you paunchy English bastards. Come on then with your rising sun bollocks.
Yellow, French.
I fucked in your general direction. I would kill you right now, but I haven't the time. Magnifique. Get away with your silly haggis. I prefer to sleep with my mother than with the English girl.
Orange, Dutch.
I go berserk at you soon. You real ugly bastards, man, you know that? Dying for guns, yes? I'm a fire starter. Hey, Manchester United, the best. I never went to Italy, too many Italians.
Brown, Cockney.
Lovely jubbly. You act like a bitch, I'll slap you like a bitch. Learn how to play the game then, you fucking muppet. Oh, you dozy tart. Ooh la fucking la. Sure you don't want to do some origami, ladies?
Green, Italian.
You look at my daughter, you filthy scum. I wouldn't do a shit for you. Magnifico. Chianti is the best wine. The British Empire, pa to the British Empire. Hey, we sing a karaoke together.
Blue, English, snobby.
Excellent time to become a missing person. His lot won't take long. Nah, ignore him. He's from Dundee. Oh, you silly, silly Frenchman. Oh, look, it's Del Boy.
Purple, English.
I fuck you big time. Men with big gun. Fuck other team good. Don't try fuck with me. Bullets like tiny beetle made of lead. Scotland. Where the fuck Scotland? Me live long way from France. Good happy. Dutch like piece of stone. Very down.
Pink, Australian.
I heard you guys didn't have any dicks. Don't make me piss myself, will ya? Let's get a weapon. More soldiers. Can we get a motorbike? Looking a little hot there, mate. No onions for us, thanks. You lot not stopping for tea, then? Samurai sword. I'll show you a knife, mate.
For NTSC, Red, Scottish.
I don't know what makes you so stupid, but it's working. You looking scared there, pal. Get Hamish now. I can't keep walking. No bad that, eh? You remember 1812, do you? Too much sunshine, laddie. You've gone all soft.
Yellow, US Army.
Have I died and gone to heaven? You ever seen a buddy go boom? Ain't she sweet? One down. Sorry, cowboy, but you're history. Ready to die, taxi man?
Orange, New Yorker.
Give me a break, will you? Think you're tough now, huh? I got him. My great-grandfather was Scottish. Or was it Irish? Again with the Australians?
Brown, Clint Eastwood.
In all the excitement, I'd kinda lost track. Feeling lucky, punk? Did I fire 6 shots or only 5? Pop a helmet on your head? Think that makes you special, huh? I bet you never even heard of the Magnificent Seven, did ya?
Green, Italian.
Ah, shut up, you face. I like this a lot. We run this part of town, friend. Eat your beans, a cowboy.
Blue, English, snobby again.
You're beginning to get on my nerves. Just doesn't understand the meaning of class. My word. Oh, wow. Lasso me a Stetson, why don't you? Had a nice siesta, have you? Hmm? You can commit Harry-Carry, or I can shoot you. Which do you want?
Purple, English.
Wax on, wax off. The wise hawk hides its claws. Tiger is strong, but I have a gun. You are New York. I am Godzilla. English Empire no more. Go home. We teach Australian about death now.
Pink, Australian.
Fighting not really your thing, is it? Welcome to Deadsville. Population, you. Grab his legs and make him do a bungee. You had to use one of our lot to play Braveheart. You New Yorkers need to learn to relax. What's the Cowboys doing here?
Now that we've gone over what they sound like, let's talk about what they do. Each buddy has unique abilities. Infantry are the standard buddy and are pretty much a baseline to compare to the others. Commando are a slight upgrade from infantry. They've more health, faster crate carry speed, their melee is an uppercut, and they have better movement when locked on. Medic. The medic's health recovers slowly, and their melee pumps up other buddies, which makes them very sensitive to popping. Ninjas are the agile buddy. They're fast, have high jumps, Their melee is a katana which can break apart crates that have been placed on a stack pad. Cyborgs are the slow robot buddy. They have tons of health, less recoil when shooting, and their melee electrifies and stuns the enemy. They can also detect the health of vehicles they are in. They're immune to fire and lava and carry super crates at normal speeds. Stealth buddies are like commandos, but when they are untouched for a few seconds, they go invisible. Their melee is capable of stealing another buddy's weapon and ammo. Super buddies are the only buddies that cannot use weapons or vehicles, but they make up for it with their super speed, laser eyes, ability to fly, and their melee spins out other buddies. You may have noticed as well, each world in Team Buddies has unique animals. In World 1 you have cats and dogs. World 2 you have bulls and pigs. World 3, camels and lizards. World 4, sheep and wolves. World 5, penguins and polar bears. World 6, yeti. World 7, lions and monkeys. World 8, aliens. And lastly, let's not forget about the other characters in the game. We have World 2's farmer, the popped up generals from Boss 1, and the boss themselves, the Wrong Bros. World 3's rangers that shoot you. Seriously, what's their problem? The famous Red. Boss 2, that general guy in the tank. Mad as a lorry, that traitorous whoever that guy in the mech walker was, Boss 3. And the NPC in Kilman Scarper, who I wanted to talk about for so long, he has no purpose. I bet he was supposed to give you a bomb or something, I don't know, he looks cool. And the 6 generals you save in World 7. Team Buddies campaign is navigated by cycling through these cute dioramas of each world. Missions that can be played look like a red crate, while lock missions look like a grey crate. When all 4 missions are beaten in a world, the player can move on to the next world. When each world is opened up for the first time, a neat little video will play which is either humorous, story related, or shows some neat new unit for the next world. When a mission is started, the objectives will be shown on the loading screen. Some missions will have an optional objective, and if they are missed, the player will not be awarded a gold medal. Speaking of medals, players unlock weapon sets, game types, and maps by completing missions, but only certain things can be unlocked by getting gold medals, so it's worth putting in the extra effort. The Team Buddies campaign starts off simple enough. In World 1 there's a 1v1 deathmatch on Battle Hill. Then you just need to rob a bike on your bike. Then tip some trash cans in That's Rubbish. And finally, protecting your base from hot dogs in Bow Wow Kerpow. But Team Buddies difficulty ramps up in World 2 quite a bit, and from here, the enemy will have more buddies and weapons when you start the mission. The difficulty spike does not stop there though. You will eventually have animals and NPC escort missions, and unfair death matches and boss fights. And it's almost essential to know where the secret weapons, vehicles, and power-ups are on the map in order to beat these missions. The campaign really is brutal, and for the last mission in particular, Bossa Nova, the lead wanted to lower the difficulty, but one of the devs said if he could beat it then they would not change it. He then beat it in a week, and that's why Bossa Nova is balls hard. If you've played the campaign in Team Buddies, then likely you've resorted to using cheats. Luckily, like most games back then, there were many cheats to use, so you didn't have to completely suffer. To use cheats, you had to pause the game and hold L1, L2, R1, R2 while entering the cheats. Here are some of them. Now, some of these didn't work for me, and I suspect there's a mix between PAL cheats and NTSC cheats. I'm not quite sure, give it a go yourself. The mission types the player will encounter during campaign are death matches, collection missions, 1 defend mission, 1 domination mission, escort missions, and 4 boss fights. Overall, the campaign is very difficult when first experiencing it, and each world delivers missions that can cause multiple rage quits because of unfair odds or unruly animals. Aside from that though, the campaign showcases many different weapons, buddies, vehicles and mechanics, and I think packing 32 missions plus a full VR training mode into a PS1 title is very impressive. I know that there were size limits back then, but if I were to recreate it nowadays, I would love to see more levels added, which could help make the difficulty increase less steep, and also allow more game modes to be showcased in campaign, like more domination, defend, vehicle specific missions, and maybe another stealth mission. As mentioned before, more things become unlocked for multiplayer as you progress through the campaign, so to get all levels, modes, weapons and skins, you will need to 100% the campaign first. In multiplayer, you can choose up to 3 opponents, either played by humans or the computer. You can choose what colour team you and the others are, but no one can be the same colour. You can choose different skins in multiplayer if unlocked in the campaign first. You can also adjust the match lengths to short 5 minutes, medium 10 minutes, or long 15 minutes. When choosing to play multiplayer, you may notice that some maps are not available if you choose 4 players. This is because some maps can only fit 2 players, and you can only select your map after selecting the number of opponents, which is a little confusing. In other words, if you want to play more maps like Battle Hill, consider playing a 1v1 game. Deathmatches in multiplayer are free-for-all battles where the objective is to be the last team standing. Not much to be said about it. Go bananas! The maps you can play are Battle Hill, Quarrelsome Quarry, Sphinx Jinx, Flock Rock and Bleats, Ice Cream, Chalk Sway Hay, Temple Tantrum, and Space City. The objective of Domination mode is to change the colour of large relics split across the map by standing next to them. When a relic is your colour for a few seconds, your team will earn points. The more relics that are your colour, the more points you get. This mode is fun as it's more about movement and surviving rather than killing. If you take out the team's last buddy, then another one will respawn a few seconds later, so you need to combine guarding relics with combat. The maps you can play are That's Rubbish, Chinese Burn, Virtual Brutality, and Annihilation. Team Buddy's take on Capture the Flag is more capture the animal, as you'll be stealing the other team's animal from their pen located near their base. This is a lot of fun too, as you can be swarmed by enemies while trying to steal their animal. Also, your animal can be stolen while you're busy. The maps for capture, the Running Lamb, Pork Scratchin', Hot Dog, and Raji Goo Goo Choppa. What does that mean? Bomb Ball is Team Buddy's destructive take on football. For me, this mode is a bit boring, as once you understand how to score, it can be very easy. However, if you're new to the game, or if you're playing with friends, I think this mode can be a blast. I can totally see the devs making this as their fun little side project and then said, yeah, this is good, throw it in. The maps for Bomb Ball are Footy Loose, Moon Goes Boom, Flog Raw, and Slippery Pop Shot. All in all, I think Team Buddy's multiplayer is tons of fun, either with computer opponents or against friends. Having multiplayer unlockables come from single player progress may be frustrating for some, but I always enjoyed this aspect in games as motivation. Also, it is one of the few PS1 games that uses the multitap, and it really takes advantage of 3 or 4 player chaos with friends. Unfortunately, I can barely recall any 4-player games I had as a kid, but I do remember playing 2-player with friends and having tons of fun with vehicles and weapons. As mentioned already, the devs had the most fun with the multiplayer. They really pushed the PS1 to its limit with 4 players, as it could potentially have 15 AI buddies all thinking at once, which was a lot for the console to process, not to mention all the particles to render. Let's talk about Team Buddies' AI. The AI for Team Buddies was so advanced for its time that a research paper was made about it during its development, called An Object Model for Behavioral Planning in a Dynamic Multi-Agent System. This AI system was also partially used for Dropship United Peace Force. Then that AI model was extended and used by a bigger team for use in Republic: The Revolution from Elixir Studios, which is a game worked on by Demis Hassabis, the creator of DeepMind, which was acquired by Google for £400 million in 2014. A key feature of the AI is that it was entirely data-driven, meaning the AI's behaviour wasn't hard-coded, but instead relied on a system where designers could define and tweak actions using an editor tool. This meant AI tweaks did not require making a new build, and therefore made adjusting AI behaviour a quick process, which was relatively rare and innovative for console games at the time. The AI operates using a finite state machine framework, where each buddy has a set of defined states, such as attack, build, defend, or find ammo. The transitions between these states are based on conditions like player proximity, crate availability, or team objectives. What sets Team Buddies apart from other games of this era is the data-driven aspect. Instead of programmers manually scripting every possible action, designers used an external editor to input behavioral data. This data would dictate how buddies react to events, such as chasing the player, stacking crates to create weapons or vehicles, or defending their base. For example, a buddy might switch from idle to build when a crate drops nearby, then to attack once armed or when being attacked, all based on predefined rules in the dataset. To get the buddy AI to a place that felt right, the values that determined when a buddy goes from one state to another, known as transitions, were adjusted constantly. For example, a buddy may have initially been programmed to attack the nearest enemy, but this behavior may have felt wrong in the game, so it could have been made so that the enemy had to be within a certain distance to be attacked. Similarly, there was an adventurous percept which calculated a few values to determine how adventurous a buddy was. In other words, their confidence to explore away from the base. This was based on 3 values: distance to base, high armed, and high ammo. If these conditions were met, then that buddy would then go explore. For added chaos, the programmers added some additional variables which resulted in behaviors such as defensiveness, aggression, and stupidity. One example of stupidity was in the early version of On Your Bike, where the buddies would just keep making bikes without actually using them. The developers found this funny, so they kept an aspect of this in. At some point in development, the devs felt they needed more levels and things to do in them, such as herding, escorting, and collecting NPCs, mostly animals. For escort missions, the animals' AI was not the same as Buddy's AI. All they did was either be idle, follow Buddy, or panic. However, if they got in a panic state, there was a chance they would lose their last waypoint, and then they would become stuck, which meant needing to restart a mission. The animal escort missions can be summarized as follows. Camels just need to be woken up at one point in the map and they'll slowly make it home, unless you, a lizard, or the enemy spooks them. Sheep need a buddy near them to progress, and if you're not near them, they'll start going back. If they get spooked, there's a chance they will not know how to get back on track, and you're screwed. Penguins will follow you when they feel like it. Fuck you. Developers also added new modes of movement, such as geysers, tunnels, and teleports, which turned out to be a headache to work out as they confused the AI's sense of direction once they used them. Also, late game weapons such as pulse rifles were a pain as their bullet distance was very long, so you could get hit by an enemy who was not even visible on screen. At this point though, the player would be in the last world and the devs decided, look, if you got this far, then it needs to be tough. In single player mode, the AI can control multiple enemy teams, your allies, NPCs, and even bosses. While in multiplayer, the AI fills in for absent human players, maintaining the fast-paced, unpredictable feel, especially during 4-player matches. The ability to command allied buddies means that you can override their automatic AI until they have fulfilled their order, at which point they will return to what they think is best. This was really impressive and was far better behavior than how your troops would behave in Command & Conquer, who would just be idle until attacked. When playing multiplayer, there is also 6 tiers of difficulty you can give your team and opposing teams. If your enemy team is 5 stars, you'll notice just how aggressive and smarter they become, and you will always have a challenge if you're playing multiplayer on your own. Also, this 5-star system means there's 6 versions of AI behavior built into multiplayer. The amount the AI could do was also limited by the PlayStation 1's computational power. On developer consoles, the team could have more than 16 agents on the map at the same time doing complex actions. However, if you were to observe this on PlayStation 1, then that's when the game's frame rate would suffer due to the machine's memory limits. It was likely due to this reason that a max of 4 buddies per team or 16 per map could be the max the game would allow, as any more would impact the game's enjoyability. This constraint likely influenced the team to want to make a potential sequel on PC, but I'll speak about sequels later. Most PS1 games relied on simpler scripted AI, whereas Team Buddies offered a more modular, designer-friendly system, which despite its hardware limitations, made a well-balanced multi-agent system. The only other games that came close in terms of AI at the time were Command & Conquer Red Alert for their enemy AI, Metal Gear Solid for their guard behavior, Thief, The Dark Project for their guard behavior, Dungeon Keeper for their enemy AI, and Creatures for their creature needs. Most PlayStation 1 games like Resident Evil or Crash Bandicoot use simpler, hard-coded AI due to memory and processing constraints. PC titles like Dungeon Keeper or Thief could afford more ambitious systems, but console equivalents were rare. Command & Conquer and Creatures come closest on PlayStation 1, leveraging data for creature and unit behavior, but they didn't match up to the same level of real-time chaotic autonomy as Team Buddies' AI. If you've played Team Buddies before, then you're likely wondering, why wasn't there a sequel or some kind of remake? Well, I've sifted through the internet for any mentions of Team Buddies sequels, remakes, tributes, or lookalikes, and here's what I found. On IndieDB.com, there was a company called Crossway Games that posted about a Team Buddies fan remake in January 2014. A user known as Kurochi would make a few posts about starting to make a Team Buddies remake using the Unreal 4 engine. A few posts in, however, and it seems like it required more funding and time, so other projects were taken on instead. They then announced they were working on another Team Buddy style project in June 2014, which I'm certain was a collaboration with Mr. Game Art. In 2013, a user named Driver96 posted a couple of videos on YouTube showing off some very well made Buddies models, movement, crate, build, and shoot mechanics in Unity. The post would mention the intent to recreate this old game many of you watching probably loved, with modern features such as dynamic physics and better graphics. There would be only 2 videos from this user, but when following the comments we will see the next chapter of this remake from the same user and more. If you were to type Team Buddies Dev into YouTube, you would come across a few videos from a channel called Mr. Game Art, which shows dev videos of remade Team Buddies models. Mr. Game Art and a few of his friends did work on character models, shading, the crate system, tank models, and tank movement. And the videos of the work generated a lot of views and excitement. Due to life being too hectic, however, they could not continue working on this beyond the material you see in the videos. When I asked Mr. Game Art about this, he said, "I very rarely speak to any of the guys anymore, and to be honest, we never really got the project off the ground in the first place. Essentially, made some fan art and prototyped some mechanics." They were the first to give us a glimpse of what a new Team Buddies could be, and they would not be the last either. Speaking of Mr. Game Art, while he was making those Team Buddies videos, he started gathering interest from lots of people, including some members of the original dev team. Through this, he learned of Camden Studios' attempt for a sequel. Apparently, the studio was working on a new version of Team Buddies for PC that was internally treated as a sequel because of how much freedom they had when not constrained by PS1 limitations. Unfortunately, Sony did not want to invest money in the PC market, and all of Psygnosis' games in development at the time for PCs were either cancelled, moved to PlayStation consoles, or licensed to different publishers. This Team Buddies 2 was then canned. Mr. Game Art decided to share this story with Unseen64.net, and the PC dev video can be seen there. A solo developer from New Zealand known as 1's Games has a few videos online showing some footage of a game inspired by Team Buddies. From their YouTube description, 1's Games is a small indie developer working on a title Buddies Unleashed, a faithful reimagining of Team Buddies. At the time of this video's release, there were 5 videos on 1's channel showing gameplay of Buddies Unleashed. From these videos, there is a lot to like here, such as unique weapons such as a vegetable shooter, fish melee weapon, and shark launcher, chucking animals into holes to make weapons or vehicles, a turbo on vehicles, and multiple units at once. Unfortunately, there have not been updates on the YouTube or Patreon for some time now, so I can only assume their work has landed them a job elsewhere and this project is on hold for now. Kudos on the work though, really cool for a solo dev. There is a browser remake of Team Buddies called teambud.io that you can play just by visiting the site. There's also a teambud.io Discord that posts when someone starts a game, so you can join their game easily, which is cool. It's obviously based off Team Buddies, but there's no sound and it's only keyboard and mouse inputs. I reached out to the creator of teambud.io on Discord to hear more about this project. When I asked is he still working on it, he said yes and no. To paraphrase, this version of Team Bud is just motivation. What I would like to do would be to rework the engine which would improve its performance, since now the 3D renders and poor network connections can lag the game. However, it's very complex to do. He has one teambud.io server set up in Europe since there's not many players, but he offered to set up one near me if I wanted to play more, which was very nice. He also dreams of having a terrain builder for the community. In the end though, a lot of these new reworks and features may not be done as the creator does not have the time. He spoke about the possibility of making his future framework open source, but he does not know if there is enough of the community to maintain it. Thanks to Smeagol for all the info about his projects. Go check out teambud.io and their Discord and show some support. When I began writing this script, I typed the words Team Buddies Steam into Google and discovered a game called Combat Beans Total Mayhem. I was quite excited at first, as the trailer has the playful charm that Team Buddies has, but the gameplay felt more like Fortnite than Team Buddies. Don't get me wrong, the game is fast paced, fun, sweet music and design, but aside from a few weapons and character design, it might be a stretch to say this is a remake. I think the only reason I found this is because the Steam description read, customize your bean with unique cosmetics and bully your buddies across multiple game modes. The game is cheap and in early development in Steam, so go check it out if you like these kinds of games. Recently, the Team Buddies Discord noticed a Team Buddies listing appear on Steam. Now, I'm not going to get my hopes up quite yet because the publisher is unknown, there is no release date, and there's nothing in the preview images that we haven't seen already. The extra details on the right mentions things like Steam leaderboards and online PvP, which sounds unlikely, and in-app purchases, which sounds awful for a game like Team Buddies. Personally, I think this listing was put up as a joke or a quick cash grab, and not much thought was put into it. But who knows, maybe they'll update this page down the line with proper details. Just take caution when putting money towards remasters. Sometimes they are not remasters at all, just like we've experienced many times before. A user posted on the PlayStation subreddit asking who currently owns the rights to Team Buddies, as they are making some personal fan-made projects based on Team Buddies. The question really isn't answered, but they describe their tabletop project and share some screenshots of their pill-shaped characters. And, in case you're wondering, Sony Computer Entertainment most likely still holds the IP rights to Team Buddies. A user who goes by Waffle Master made some concepts of what a new main menu and online mode screen would look like for Team Buddies. I don't think these were actually attached to any engine, but it was cool to see a room list of multiple games being played while Team Buddies music is playing. It was nice to imagine, what if? Also, here are some cool 3D models users Sharp Shark and Kevin Morelli put together. I've also played around with Team Buddies in Unity and Blender years ago, but don't hold your breath. I don't think this is something I could do unless I had a lot of help. From these above examples, I think there is enough talented people that a community could come together to work on something here. Who knows? The devs did mention that if Team Buddies were remade today in a sandbox style where people could redesign their own levels and scenarios, then it would be very popular, and I agree. A Super Mario Maker idea for Team Buddies would be awesome. Imagine multiplayer, but the limit on the Team Buddies could be 8 or 16 instead of 4, and the maps could be way bigger. Imagine the chaos. We can only hope. There are not many speedrunners of Team Buddies, and that's a shame, but it makes sense due to the difficulty and availability of the game, even though emulator runs are accepted. For speedrun history, I'm going off the records on speedruns.com, as I couldn't find accounts of speedruns for Team Buddies elsewhere. If you search Team Buddies on YouTube, you'll likely find Bringer Z's Team Buddies 1 hour, 50 minutes and 21 second speedrun from 2015. He held this for 6 years, and then in April 2021, Kasu took that world record from 1 hour, 50 minutes and 11 seconds and improved it all the way down to 1:24:16 in just a couple of months. In 2021, I, another funking gamer, then took that time down to 1:21:50. In 2023, Kasu and I would then take each other's records a couple more times by just a few seconds, until we both realised that the loading times between our runs were affecting our overall runtime. The Team Buddies speedrun leaderboards would then be changed to only count the IGT, in-game time, for every mission start to every mission end, with no loading screens included, since some players use emulators and other players use PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. In 2024, Kasu took the world record back again with an impressive time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 25 seconds, or 1 hour, 2 minutes, 10 seconds IGT. Sub 1 hour 20 minutes was the next big Team Buddies hurdle, and Kasu smashed it. Then later in 2024, Kasu and AFG would then battle it out once more in preparation for their Fun Runs and Odd Speedrun events respectively, until AFG would finally get a 1 hour, 15 minutes and 15 seconds, or 59:41 IGT, the first sub 1 hour IGT for Team Buddies. Between all this, we also had runs from Zero Counts with a run of 1 hour 35 minutes, CMO Joker with a run of 1 hour 36 minutes and 5 seconds, Ronan G Arc with a run of 1 hour 36 minutes and 45 seconds, Raikou with a run of 1 hour 44 minutes, Bolt Clock with a run of 2 hours 12 minutes, and Cohesion with a run of 2 hours 22 minutes. So who will be the 10th runner on the leaderboard? And can the world record be brought down even more? Team Buddies is not known for glitches, sequence breaking, or one-frame inputs like other speedruns. At this stage in its speedrun history, it's mostly about speed, skill, and luck. However, one notable skip must be mentioned. In 2018, a user who goes by TLD on speedruns.com would share several strategies on beating missions fast. One of which was on how to escort the scientist in Return to Sender without using the intended vehicle, saving at least 3 minutes as a result. The strategy is to punch the scientist in the back, which triggers him to go into a panic state and run upwards. While in a panic state, the player must stay behind his left shoulder at all times, so that every few seconds his AI will check to see if the threat is still nearby, and if so, he will continue fleeing. But that's not all. You see, it's not a straight line from the scientist to the enemy base. In fact, there are many obstacles that the scientist must bounce off while fleeing, almost making him behave like a rolling ball. Luckily for us, this level includes a lot of tunnels, and if we direct the scientist a specific way, he will enter a tunnel and therefore exit another tunnel which is on the other side of the map, almost a straight line from the enemy base. By staying behind him just a little while longer, the player can stop pursuing him just outside the enemy base. When the scientist is no longer near the threat, he will begin to run back at an angle. This angle will move him into the enemy base perfectly. I cannot understand how it was discovered and practiced, but it is such an impressive feat to manipulate the AI's behavior like that to finish the mission quicker. It's insane. I decided to use this logic to create a similar strategy in Kill 'em and Scarper, only saving a few seconds though. It's hard to think of any other major skips that could be found in this game. Apart from manipulating the AI, this game is bulletproof for now. If someone can figure out how to bypass the timers in Bow Wow Kerpow and Annihilation, then there will be major improvements to the speedrun, and it'll make it way more enjoyable. TLD had other strategies mentioned in speedruns.com, but the link videos are no longer accessible. If you ever see this TLD, I'd love to hear from you. In 2023, Speedrunner Zero Counts showcased Team Buddies for a speedrun event, Retroton 2023, and to my knowledge, this is the first time Team Buddies was included in a speedrun event. In 2024, Kasu would then showcase Team Buddies in Finruns, a Finland speedrun event. And finally, alongside speedrunner Raikou, I got to showcase Team Buddies at Oz Speedruns, or ASM 2024 in Australia, and I had such a good time doing it. I hope from these events, speedruns and videos that Team Buddies is picking up popularity again and we will see more runners in the future. I would love for Team Buddies to have a more active community like other retro games. If you would like to speedrun Team Buddies or at least hang out with other Team Buddies fans, come check out the Discord. So you watched the video. What do you want from me, a medal or something? Get out of here! No, but seriously, thank you so much for watching. This video took me so much time to put together, and I appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to watch it. Having analysed Team Buddies this thoroughly, I can only come to one conclusion. If Team Buddies had sold more than 50,000 copies and was marketed a little differently, it could have stood alongside GoldenEye, Smash Bros, and Mario Kart. The amount of content in this game makes it a dream sandbox for hundreds more levels to be created, just like Super Mario Maker. So many people want a sequel or a remake, but every attempt doesn't work out. Let's hope that changes. I've come out of this with a deeper appreciation for Team Buddies, but also video games as a whole. You never know how much work is put into something unless you look a little closer. I sincerely hope this is not the last we hear of this franchise. Give Team Buddies a try yourself, and if you need anything, I'll see you in the Discord. Links to everything useful and nearly everything I mentioned in this video will be in the description. And lastly, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And check me out on Twitch for some more Team Buddies content. Cheers.